Greetings Star Last Forms and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before, and it is a Disney theory. Now, since I've never done one before, I will occasionally stutter or slunder a little bit, or probably not making any sense, going doolally or like that. So if I do, then I know it's gonna be a little slip, so please be patient with me, and if it's a success then I will do it again. But this is just a tryout and we'll see how we go. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of my favourite Disney movies of all time. It is truly an inspirational story, but it's also a dark one. Boy meets girl, boy doesn't get the girl, instead she falls for another. There's a person who's trying to get the relationship in the way, and so on and so forth. Most people know the story, so I won't go down to it much. But as I was reading the story and re-watched the film, a little thought came into my mind. What if Quasimodo and Esmeralda were related to each other? Ooh. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Says, you're crazy. Yes, I know I'm crazy. But it's something that has really puzzled me for a long time. And although Quasimodo and Esmeralda are very different in the movie, I've also realised that they are different in literature as well. So to explain the question, I had to go back to the very beginning. In the story, Quasimodo and Esmeralda live separate lives. But unlike the Disney film, Quasimodo's story isn't really touched very much. He's kind of seen as a very mysterious figure. Esmeralda, on the other hand, does have a background story. She was born to a prostitute who was an orphaned daughter of a minstrel. And in those days, a minstrel would either be travelling from town to town in a country, or had a right to play some music in the royal court. Esmeralda's grandfather isn't mentioned in the story, so it does make me wonder, in a position like that, Esmeralda must have come from a very rich family. I believe that her grandfather was a minstrel at the French royal court, and he must have been very, very popular. So that means Esmeralda's mother must have been illegitimate. Once her mother was born, Esmeralda's father unexpectedly died, and she had to live on her life full of poverty, and to keep herself staying alive, she turned to prostitution. Once she had her child, she wanted to give up the life and to concentrate more on her daughter. However, Esmeralda was kidnapped by gypsies, and in her place they placed a very deformed child, which was Quasimodo. So, in distraught, Esmeralda's mother had to pick up Quasimodo and leave him there on the steps of Notre Dame Cathedral. 15 years later, Esmeralda grows up with the gypsies and she becomes a dancer. She's never too far with her best friend, Jali, who is her pet goat. So to cut a long story short, Esmeralda meets her mother, but not too long after Esmeralda gives Quasimodo water, her mother curses her child, blaming her and the gypsies for eating her baby. But when they meet again, before Esmeralda is executed, her mother realises who she really is, and she does everything in her power to protect her child. But she ended up in a struggle with a guard, and he pushed her to the ground, and suddenly she died. In the Disney version, Quasimodo is seen with two people rowing down a stream. When they get off the boat, they're going to try and find a place to hide away from the guards and Claude Frollo. but with little success. Who were the two people and why were they with the baby? Well, it's not really explained at all in the film, but according to the lyrics of the Bells of Notre Dame, the man says to the woman, "Hush it up, will you? We be spotted." Hush it up. I believe that Quasimodo was either an illegitimate child or he was stolen off from somebody and the mother was going to try and row him into Paris to give him a better life. That didn't happen and Claude Frollo pushed the woman to the ground and kills her. Reading back in the novel, Quasimodo was a gypsy child, but little is known of what happened to his mother or father. He is described as the creation of the devil, which can only mean that Quasimodo's parents want nothing to do with him. Back in medieval times, deformity is seen as a sin. This is punishment for somebody who has committed a crime. Most people in that time were highly religious and they would believe in some things like that. So that's the background story out of the way. But what about their appearances? Do they share the same DNA? Do they have the same skin tone? Or do they have the same coloured eyes? But to figure out the eyes, we must look back to the skin colour. In the Disney film, Quasimodo is shown to have light white skin, while Esmeralda's is dark black skin. And that's been put me in a bit of a puzzle. The woman who's carrying the baby Quasimodo has dark skin like Esmeralda, but the two skin colours are opposite to each other. And if Quasimodo was related to that woman, would he have a skin condition? If he did have a skin condition, Quasimodo would have had a diagnosis of albino, which means any skin colour that is darker could turn skin into a light colour. There's no evidence to suggest this, and at the end of the day, I think the woman and Quasimodo aren't biologically related to each other. So let's just clear that theory up. However, Esmeralda's case is more confusing. Unlike the book, Esmeralda doesn't have a backstory and she remains a complete mystery. So what do we do about Esmeralda? Do we pair her up with Quasimodo? Or do we accept the fact that she's just her own individual person? If Quasimodo's story was explained, but Esmeralda's isn't, does that mean that A, she would have been swapped with Quasimodo, or B, if Esmeralda was kidnapped and Quasimodo was put in her place from another gypsy tribe, would that mean the gypsy mother had to travel to Paris and give Quasimodo into the hands of the archdeacons? Also, I had another thought. If Esmeralda and Quasimodo were related to each other, would that mean they would either have to be siblings or cousins? If that was the case, then I believe that there was a family feud going on and either aunties, uncles, mothers, fathers, cousins, or husband and wife were separated from each other, then they must have took one baby each with them. So, with green eyes but different skin colours, does that mean Quasimodo and Esmeralda are biologically related? I doubt it. Just because you have a same eye colour doesn't mean you are related. However, I do believe that Quasimodo and Esmeralda were destined to be together. Fate had brought them to become friends through prejudice and judgment. Both of them have been outcasts and they both lost their parents, except for Esmeralda's mother in the novel, and they've been struggling to be accepted into society. It depends on which version you believe in. So if you are a fan of the book, a fan of the Disney film, or both, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you really believe that Esmeralda and Quasimodo are related, or is it just a coincidence? And with that, I'm going to leave it here. I'll leave all of my links in the description box below, and if you want to see me doing more Disney theories, and if you have any ideas of what I should do next, please let me know and I will get onto it. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more future videos. And with that, I'll catch you very soon. Goodbye!